What is happening, everyone? It's GBall, and I have an exciting knife here to unbox for you, coming in from Kansept. It's actually a newer release for them. It's actually a couple of new versions that were just recently released here in 2026. You always get great packaging from Kansept. Nice little pouch there. If this is your first time stopping by, welcome to GBall Vision. Drop a comment below. Let me know what your EDC is looking like today. Feel free to let me know the entire loadout. The knife we are scoping out today is called the Orlok, designed by our friend Terry Core, a longtime G-baller. It's actually his design right here, the Orlok. They put out 4 or 5 different versions initially, and recently they've put a couple more out, and this is one of them. You have the purple anodized micro rock texture titanium handles, which look absolutely beautiful. And then this particular one is going to be sporting that VG10 Damascus. These are going to come in right around 200 bucks. I will have links over to this knife down in the description, and I also have a 10% discount code for Kansept's website. So that actually takes this knife down closer to 180. Harpoon modified sheep's foot blade, a cutout, and front flipper for the deployment. Someone else said this is more of their gentleman's carry, and I looked at the other one that I have, which we'll take a look at here in a few moments, and I thought, yeah, I can actually see that. And I've noticed over the years that some people will agree with what I perceive as a gentleman's knife, and other people will disagree. It just kind of depends, and it's that way with everything in the knife and gear world. But I can see this being like a gentleman's utility type knife, and it's actually built very well. It has a hefty feel to it, which we'll take a look at that here in a few moments. Let's get a size on this thing. We are looking at 7 inches overall. We have 2 3/4 inches of cutting edge, and we'll call it 3 1/8 of total blade. Put that in better perspective, I have a couple of comparison knives lined up for you. Up top, we have the Para 3 from Spyderco, and on the bottom, the Kershaw Bel Air XL. And 2 more, the Vosteed Porcupine up top, and on the bottom, the new Real Steel Premium Spectrum. So it's not a huge knife, but it's not a small knife either. I would say this is more of a large, mid-sized knife. Like I said, it has a good heft to it. Right now, we'll get a look at this pocket clip that is going to be titanium, and it is left-hand friendly. You can tell this is designed by someone who carries and uses knives and has a good feel out there for the community. It's going to look really clean in the pocket. You'll have maybe a 1/2 inch poking out of the pocket there, which many of you know I prefer that. Gives you a nice place to actually grab a hold of the knife and retrieve it out of the pocket. Good retention on that feller, and plenty of clearance underneath there. That is an excellent design for the clip. I love the layout of the handle on this knife too. That allows you to choke up right behind that edge, that little 50-50 area there, and that also will get you up on top of that tip there if you have some index type cuts to do, more detailed type work. Nice layout for good ergos on this knife. We'll grab the arch nemesis out here and give this bad boy a weight check. Now, I like to play a little game here on the channel where I attempt to guess the weight of the knife, and I always invite you to play along. You put your guess down in the comments, ounces or grams, whichever you prefer. Even if you already have a comment down there, go ahead and put your guess. And if you're enjoying this video, you like knives and gear, you're in the right place. Make sure you're subscribed here to the channel and ring that bell. I'm going to give this a go, and I'm going to say that it is coming in 3 inches of blade, just under 3.1. I'm going to say titanium, a little bit of milling there on the show side. I bet that it's 3.7 is what I want to say. 3.7. Let's hit it. 3.7. We're zeroed off. 3.7. Let's go. Let's go. Oh! Damn it! 0.6 off and 122 grams. See, the guys and gals who follow along daily will see my struggles on a day-to-day basis, because some people only see me nail the weight, which is usually what happens, let's be honest, or I get really close. It's very rare that I'm, point 0.4 plus beyond. It's just, that's a rare occasion. Everybody be honest. No, I don't know that that's true. I think I'm probably lying to myself. Next up on the docket here is grabbing our calipers, and this helps us measure the handle and blade. We'll start off with the handle thickness, and that's at a 0.49. So a good healthy thickness on the handle, 12.6. So even 12.6 millimeters. So even if you have a little bit larger hand, that thickness and the layout will lend itself to being pretty comfortable. 3.95 millimeters, really, and 155 thousandths. So that's a bulky blade stock for a knife this size, this layout. Let's see what they did for the BTE here. We'll get a good hold. And that's coming down nice and thin. 16 thousandths right there in that particular spot. Looks like I'm even a touch high, so it might be even a little thinner than that. Let's see how this cuts out of the box. And for that, we'll use our catalog paper here, as we always do. This type of blade shape right here lends itself to being a great utility type folding knife. And it's also going to just be a great casual slicer. That low tip is a great workhorse shape, in my opinion. Though it's like I've said many, many times, when I was still in the trades, what I got really accustomed to doing was keeping a sheep's foot or a Wharncliffe, also with a drop point or Tanto, something like that. And with those two blade shapes, right, pick, Wharncliffe, sheep's foot, and then pick like a drop point or a Tanto, clip point even, that type of thing for the other knife. And you can really, really cover a lot of bases with those two blade shapes. Pretty much nothing you can't handle that entails having a folding knife with those two. Anyway, this has a beautiful edge on it, and it's like I said, I don't have a ton of experience with their VG10 Damascus, but I have had a couple, and I can say that they come out of the box with a really nice, sharp, toothy edge. Almost every time, whether it's Tenable or Kansept, they come out of the box with a really, really nice edge, and this one is no different, and that's a good thing. VG10 as a base, it's going to take a really good edge and be toothy. So you can basically chalk it up to it having VG10 type performance, and that's pretty damn good, as a baseline for a pocket knife. The other thing I wanted to mention was Kansept has an EDC line where they sell all kinds of drivers, pry bars, all kinds of different stuff, and that'll be linked down there in the description as well. We'll get one of our drivers out here and check this hardware. T8, and everything's been nice and tight so far. The only thing I can really think of, we got T6 on the pocket clip. Not a huge deal, but I would like to see T8. I'm sure that was probably out of Terry's hands. He most likely wanted T8s here, but just couldn't be done. If he sees this, I'm sure he'll let us know. One thing I was going to say, though, is a lot of people aren't a huge fan of free spinning pivots. And I gotta say, as someone who doesn't disassemble a ton of knives, it really don't bother me. Plus they have all kinds of different tools out there now that can help you if you're having an issue. You put on the tip of your finger and you can just hold it there while you undo it. Usually it's not a big deal. This one is perfectly centered up. The detent is also beautiful, but I don't have a problem with free spinning pivots. Whether it's D-shaped or free spinning, some people like and want the free spinning because it's said to give you an improved action, which I don't know that for sure, but I'm guessing, people out there smarter than me, know that, and it does make sense. but the D-shaped helps you disassemble the knife easier. So it just depends on which side of the spectrum you land on there for that type of thing. But, you know, I can't gripe. I can't make that a gripe that would deter you from, you know, picking the knife up if you really liked it. If that was the only thing, I couldn't let that hold me back, at least personally. I mean, that's never held me back in the past. It's like, you know, like if you wanted to take it apart, it's like, that stinks, but not a huge deal, right? You know what I mean? I don't know. I could be, I'm different, I guess, when it comes to this type of stuff. I love the gear. That's just, you know, I love it. Knives, gear, I like it. I feel like I can always find a place for whatever it is in my life and in someone else's as well. We're going to get the spine whacker out nonetheless. No matter how pretty, how beautiful, how cheap, how expensive, it's always going to get introduced to the spine whacker. This is where we hold these companies' toes to the fire, and we make sure, or try to make sure, that we can hold them accountable, right? We want locking folding knives that are going to stay locked up, and we typically don't ever have an issue, and we never have an issue with Kansept or Tenable. They have a great success rate on the channel, and that's after well over 100 knives through the channel from Kansept and Tenable. I probably bought 50 before I started even making content of Kansept's knives. So, you know, since then, it's been a lot of their knives. I've tested a ton of them, and they're one of the companies I would say that's in the top tier when it comes to quality control. They do a great job. We'll go ahead and give this a couple of tugs, side to side, up and down, and that feels really good. It does have early lockup, not a cause for concern. We have seen plenty of knives with a 20-30% lockup that are rock solid. We've also seen some that have issue, so we'll see about that right now. We'll do a light tap out here towards the tip just to get us rolling. We're not trying to see if you can hammer a nail into a tree with the spine of your blade. We just want to make sure we have a good engagement there. It sounds good off that initial tap there. And yeah, it does. It sounds really good. I don't expect anything less at this point from Kansept and Tenable. Tenable is their sister company, if you didn't know. Trying to get them right there on that flat. Go back to the middle here with a double. Ooh, that would have done her. That would have done her in right there. And it sounds really good. Look how early that is. But that's just a great indicator right there. And I've had plenty, so I know. But I would say the companies who have an early lockup like that, 8 or 9 times out of 10, they're going to be good to go. There's only a few I've seen over the last year that have a really early lockup and have issue. It's only been a couple. The rest have all been pretty successful. Now, I recommend trying to get like a 30 to 40% lockup, you know, off the rip. That way, pretty much your entire lock face is sitting under the tang at that point, or pretty close. And I think, you know, that's just me personally, but a lot of people will like this because there's a ton of room here for this to break in, and it's already solid at this point. So that's really good news for long-term use on this knife. You'll have to let me know what you think of the Orlok here. I always look forward to hearing from you. Recessed liner lock with titanium handles, and they still have other versions available that aren't Damascus. So if you maybe wanted the standard steel, they also have that. The VG10 Damascus and S35 VN variants are both still available. You can get them with the rock texturing as well. So couple of options are available. Some are sold out. Look forward to hearing from you either way. Do me a solid and hit that thumbs up button. And if you want to be sure to see more dope daily knife and EDC content just like this, Make sure you're subscribed here to the channel and ring that bell. I'll pop a couple of new videos up you haven't seen yet. Go check one of them out. Have yourself an awesome day. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.